Hello everybody, my name is Peter Boyer and I want to cover now the third subject from the 2014 BAC, which is the written task. I like to part this into two, but I first tell you what it is all about. Basically, you have 120 minutes to comprehend, to read two texts, to answer the questions, basically, which are multiple choice questions again, and then to go on and write an 80 to 100 word composition and to continue with a 180 to 200 words essay. 2 hours. That's not too long, so you have to be wise how you do it, how you calculate your time, because first you have a pretty simple and short text that you have to comprehend, to read it, to understand it, and to pick your multiple choice answers. Then you go on with the second text, which is longer, and it has something like 6 answers. And then, as I said, the second text contains 10 different answers. Okay. And then you go on with the written part, with the 80 to 100 words and the 180 to 200 words essay. So be wise. Now, I will read the full text for you, all of it, slowly, nicely, that you can understand it. I will read the answers also, from which you will pick one, A, B, or C. As I said, multiple choice. I will do the same thing with the second text. And then I will make another video about how to solve the writing exercise. I will try to put the full texts on my YouTube channel in the description. I'm not sure that I will be able to do it, because I think the limit for the letters is something like 5,000, and this may be many more. But if I'm not able to do it, at least I will try to put there into the description the questions, if not the full text. So let's see. Comprehension. Read the text below. Are the sentences 1 to 5 right, A, or wrong, B? If there is not enough information to answer right, A, or wrong, B, choose doesn't say, C. Mark A, B, or C on your exam sheet. First text. Windsor Castle. Windsor Castle in Windsor, in the English county of Berkshire, is the largest inhabited castle in the world, and dating back to the time of William the Conqueror, is the oldest in continuous occupation. The castle's floor area is approximately 484,000 square feet, 44,986 square meters. Together with Buckingham Palace in London and Holyrood Palace in Edinburgh, it is one of the principal official residences of the British monarch. Queen Elisabeth II spends many weekends of the year at the castle, using it for both state and private entertaining. Her other two residences, Sandringham House and Balmoral Castle, are the royal family's private homes. The most of the kings and queens of England, later kings and queens of Great Britain, and the later still kings and queens of the Commonwealth realms, have had a direct influence on the construction and evolution of the castle, which has been their garrison fortress, home, official palace, and sometimes their prison. The castle's history and that of the British monarchy are inextricably linked. Chronologically, the history of the castle can be traced through the reigns of the monarchs who have occupied it. When the country has been at peace, the castle has been expanded by the additions of large and grand apartments. When the country has been at war, the castle has been more heavily fortified. This pattern has continued to the present day. Questions. Number 1. Windsor Castle dates back to William the Conqueror's times. A. Right. B. Wrong. C. Doesn't say. Second one. British monarchs have never lived in Windsor Castle. A. Right. B. Wrong. C. Doesn't say. Third one. Windsor Castle has remained unchanged since its construction. A. Right. B. Wrong. C. Doesn't say. 4. Some kings and queens have been imprisoned at Windsor Castle. A. Right. B. Wrong. C. Doesn't say. 5. Windsor Castle has been heavily fortified by Queen Elisabeth II. A. Right. B. Wrong. C. Doesn't say. Second text. Read the following text below. For questions 1 to 10, choose the answers A, B, C, or D, which you think fits best according to the text. Title: Walkabout. It is possible to consider Walkabout entirely as the story it seems to be. The story of a 14-year-old girl and her little brother who are abandoned in the Australian outback and then saved through the natural skills of a young Aborigine boy. It is simpler and easier to consider it on that level too, because Walkabout is a superb work of storytelling, and its material is effortlessly fascinating. There's also a tendency to read Walkabout as a catch-all of symbols and metaphors in which the noble savage and his natural life are tested and found superior to civilization and cities. The movie does indeed make the comparison several times. Hundreds of miles from hell, the girl turns on her portable radio to hear a philosopher observe. It is now possible to state that that is. Well, this isn't exactly helpful, and so we laugh. And more adolescent viewers may have to stifle a sigh and a tear when the girl is seen at the movie's end married to a cloddish office clerk and nostalgically remembering her idyllic days in the desert. The contrast between civilization and man's more natural states is well drawn in the movie and will interest serious-minded young people, just as at the level of pure story, Walkabout will probably fascinate kids. But I don't think it's fruitful to draw all the parallels and then piously conclude that we could all be better off far from the city, sipping water from the ground and spearing kangaroos for lunch. That sort of comparison doesn't really get you anywhere and leaves you with a movie that doesn't tell you more than you already know. I think there's more than that to Walkabout. And I'm going to have a hard time expressing that additional dimension for you because it doesn't quite exist in the universe of words. Even in these days of film experiments, most movies have their centers in the world of plots and characters. But Walkabout, well, to begin with, the film was directed and photographed by Nicholas Roeg, the cinematographer of Petulia and many other British films. Roeg's first stab at direction was a co-director of performance. This was his first work as an individual. I persisted in seeing performance on the level of its perfectly silly plot. And on that level, it was a wretched movie indeed. People told me I should forget the plot and simply enjoy the movie itself. But I have a built-in resistance to that notion, usually. Perhaps I should have listened, because Roeg's Walkabout is a very rare example of that kind of movie in which the civilized characters and the aborigine exist in the wilderness that isn't really a wilderness, but more of an indefinite place for the story to be told. Roeg's desert in Walkabout is like backstage for Waiting for Godot. That is, it's nowhere in particular and everywhere. Roeg's photography reinforces this notion. He is careful to keep us at distance from the physical suffering of the characters. To be sure, they have blisters and parched lips, but he pulls up well short of the usual cliches of suffering in the desert. And his cinematography and John Barry's otherworldly music make the desert seem a mystical place, a place for visions, so that the whole film becomes mystical, a dream, and the suicides which frame it set the boundaries of reality. Within them, what happens between the boy and the girl, and the boy and the little brother, is not merely communication or survival or cooperation, but the same kind of life enhancement that you imagine people feel when they go into the woods and eat berries and bring the full focus on their intelligence to bear on the problem of coexisting with nature. Questions. Number 1. What happens with the main characters at the end of the movie? A. They are saved by an aberration.